All right, today's movie is 1979 Sun Dragon, aka A Hard Way to Die. This is a martial arts movie, and I don't really know what the title has to do with anything. Maybe they were trying to cash in on some Bruce Lee, the dragon type stuff. I looked up the original Chinese title, and it's Piglet's Blood and Tears, so don't know what that has to do with anything either. Well, so the movie stars Carl Scott and Billy Chong. Carl Scott, his parents get killed by some bad guys who take over his parents' property.
You sign it?
I'll sign.
Billy Chong, he has a run-in with some mobsters, and so he has to go into hiding, and that's how he ends up running into Carl Scott.
I can't help you. You have seriously injured the mayor's son.
Hi, Holly. It's known. Officers are looking for him. You have to think some way out for him.
I'll send him to his grandfather in Arizona.
What makes the movie interesting is the fact that this movie was filmed in Arizona. And its setting is the Old West. So we have the Billy Chong, playing a Chinese immigrant. He's not actually Chinese, but playing a Chinese immigrant to America, and Carl Scott is an African American. So that is kind of neat. Once Billy Chong gets to America, he also has a run-in with the bad guys, and that's kind of the setup. So they both have to sort of get their revenge. What kind of lets the movie down is you would think, let's have Chong train Scott, because that would make sense. No, instead they have this third guy, the old Chinese master, train Scott.
You gotta teach me Kung Fu. You know it, so you can protect yourself. If only I had known martial arts, my mother, my father would not have been killed by gangsters. You saved my life. Why don't you help me get my revenge?
Tom, I will teach you.
And in fact, Chong and Scott hardly have any scenes together at all. It's sort of like there were two movies about the same group of bad guys with different good guys, and then they just kind of mashed them together. They do interact, Chong and Scott, but it just would have been a lot easier to have Chong train him. But the fighting is pretty good. Scott seems like, from what I've read, actually to be an actual trained martial artist, and from my opinion as someone who doesn't know martial arts, some of the stuff of him rehearsing doesn't seem like the traditional movie style martial arts. It seems more like official, actual martial arts moves. And the fights are pretty good. So Scott is pretty good. Chong has some really good action scenes.
If you don't join us, you'll end up living here like that ball.
If someone's gonna leave this place, it won't be me.
But it doesn't really stick together because the characters don't have that much interaction with each other. There is also the fact that the dubbing is terrible.
His attacker has pummeled him severely in the ventricle and in the temple. Therefore, I think he knew Kung Fu very well.
So I don't know if that's Scott's real voice, but even his lines are not that great. Not very emotive. And some of the other characters are terrible. Now, I will say that in addition to Chong and Scott being pretty decent, the sort of main white bad guy, he's actually pretty good too, because he actually has to fight both of them. And the scenes, they have pretty long shots. They're not a lot of editing as in modern films. So whoever this guy is, seems pretty good too. I looked it up, and nobody except Billy Chong really went on to do much more. Scott did a couple more movies, and that's it. But Billy Chong is still big over in Asia. He's still, I think he may have retired, but he was still, up until fairly recently, he was making movies and TV shows. But because it has the unique setting and the fights are pretty good, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Arizona's nice, and the main actors are good. Cut out the old guy.